In the last section, we finished promoting our book list from a normal React component to being a container. So we've finished wiring up our first container and our first reducer, the books reducer. I want to take a second to review exactly what's going on here, the flow throughout the entire application right now, just in case stuff is a little bit confusing still. If you feel comfortable with it, where everything's at, feel free to go to the next section. Otherwise, sit around for a little bit and let's go through the walkthrough of what's going on one more time, just to make sure that it's nice and extra clear here. Truthfully, to me, some of this still seems a little bit like magic, and so I still find it a little bit challenging to sometimes trace data. Okay, we got the reducer, somehow that's showing up inside the book list, blah, blah, blah. Kind of hard to trace the flow of the application. So let's review this one more time. First, an overall note. Remember that Redux serves to construct the application state, and React provides the views to display that state. The two libraries are inherently disconnected, and it's only through the use of React Redux that we get any clear connection between the two. Next, our application state is generated by reducer functions. We created one reducer called reducer books, our books reducer. The books reducer always returns an array of books, no matter what, always the same array. The array contains a list of objects where each object represents one book, and it has just the title of a book for right now. We added this books reducer to our combine reducers call right here inside of index.js, inside of the reducers folder. This reducer is going to add a key to our global application state called books, where the key is books and the value is whatever gets returned from the books reducer, which in this case is our array of books. That's essentially the end of this thread here. Our state is really just always going to be equal to an object with a key of books and a value of an array of books. That's it. Next, we created a component book list. It started off as a component, but then we decided that it needed to be aware of our state within our Redux, within the Redux side of the application. Because book list had to be aware of that state, we decided to promote it to a container. We promoted book list to a container by first importing the connect function from React Redux, and then we defined map state to props, and we hooked our component together with map state to props using the connect function. We chose the component book list to connect to the Redux store specifically because only book list in our application really cares about the list of books. The app doesn't really care about it. It doesn't need to know about the list of books at all. Finally, we made sure that app actually rendered that book list here. And last of all, we refreshed our application in the browser and we saw the code in action. Redux generated a state object that contained our books and then mapped that state as props to our component. Because the state was updated, through our reducer, our component re-rendered with that list of books. So one last reminder here, for the probably fifth or sixth time, a container is a normal React component that gets bonded to the application state. And we connect the two, we meld the two together. Whenever our application state changes, the container will re-render as well. Okay, so with that review complete, let's move forward towards the next part of our application, which is selecting a particular book.